It's different than all the others. It's unique in the sense that it's come here for a specific purpose. It has a job to do. So Jake asked me if I would, send it to her. And I kept thinking I was going to do it, but something prevented me from doing it. And so, then I realized that that's not the Rudra Yoga way. So, the Rudra Yoga way is to actually do the work to co-create together rather than just, I say this and I send you that. Kind of like I was talking a little earlier about, like, a lot of times you'll say, should I do this or should I do that? And you wouldn't be saying, should I do this and should I do that, if both this and that didn't have some benefit to them. So that's the most common thing for people to do. Like there was something about the car or something in the chat. Anybody remember that? Mm-hmm. And it was, should we do this or that? I forgot what it was. It was in the chat. Mm-hmm. And the answer is always both. Both. You wouldn't be thinking of this and that if both weren't important. So it's always both. And a lot of times it's very common that everyone wants to be abundant. And they even have an ideal about what abundant would be, whether it's like, in physical wealth, the wealth where you can do stuff in a world that runs on money, or any kind of wealth. Like you could think of 5 kinds of wealth. When you've got to 5, just wave your hand.
Got it. She got it.
Okay. Tell me one.
Books.
Say it again.
Books. A wealth of books.
Books.
Okay. I would say wealth of energy. Like an abundance of energy. Always having the energy to do what you want to do.
And you could more generalize it and say knowledge. But the books are really important because there's so many people that are creators, have created the world we live in, that read 1 or 2 books a day. I could name 5, and they're the 5 everybody would guess anyway. Anybody think of another one?
Yeah.
What?
Free time.
Free time.
Right.
Free time to create, free time to practice, free time to travel, free time to worship.
Yes.
Free time to sing, free time to be, free time to walk, free time to swim, free time to fly, free time.
Yeah, and so you're thinking, well, should I do this or should I do that? Or you do both. So
you can do all of it.
Then you say, well, I don't know whether it fits in my schedule. I don't know what's practical. You've got to think of your life as like, if I could live the life I really want to live, if I could have the kind of money I would like to have, if I could have the kind of time I would like to have, if I could have this I would like to have, if I could do this for fixing something or could do that for fixing something, but could do both. If you always catch yourself thinking either or, stop, go both and. And then you have to allow a creative pulse in you to rise to figure out how you can do both and. And that, we're here as creators. They say people are made in the image of God. Well, God's a big creator, right? Everybody's, whatever God is, everybody's something to do with big creator. So people are little creators. So the question is what to create. And then you think, okay, well, certain visions come into my mind, certain ideas come into my mind. Oh, that's interesting. I'd like to do that. Or, oh, wow, I really like the way that person's living. I'd like to live that way too in my own way. Like that kind of thing. Or, I'd really like to be able to go to Thailand, but I also really want to go to Alaska. How different can two places be, right? But both of them, you're really drawn to have the experience of both of them. Obviously, you say, I'm going to do both of them. Then you organize your life around both and, whatever your both and is. So if you think about, if there's nothing but God, whatever that is, it must be pure creation, at the essence of creation. So you think about that, and you think about an idea comes in my head. Well, any idea could come in your head. Any idea could come in anybody's head anytime. But it didn't just anyone, it's that one. Think about it as a message from God. And without making God into this big thing sitting, there and doing stuff for us, think of it just the essence of creation. Essence of what we are, and we become, as we become fully what we are in one particular piece of the whole, which is the you. And then you say, okay, well, that's what I'm here to do. That's why I had that idea. If you think of your ideas that way, you'll always understand why, particularly if you learn to keep your mind quiet. This is like so important. If you keep your mind quiet, then the ideas that come into your mind are pregnant. They're not like flighty. They're not like just, they're very pregnant. They're very essency. You feel them. You really feel them. It's like if you think about, instead of thinking what you want to do or what you need to do, think about what you feel to do. Because what you feel to do, or what an idea that when you have it has a lot of feeling, oh, wow, that'd be amazing. Wow. Ah. Then you see that idea come in, I don't know if I could do that. Then you stop. Every time you see that limitation come in, which isn't what you brought here, it's what all the people around you fed you as the way to think and act and live. That's it. Just that. With you, it's whatever it is that floats your boat. What you
Yeah.
do. Oh, what makes you really get excited about that. That
Yeah.
would be amazing. Well, it will be amazing because you're going to choose to do it. Then and what you are is a little creator. So once you choose to do it, then you bring it into that creative essence in your belly and you let it percolate and form the way. So it's not just an idea that you want to have, or it's not just something that's really cool to think about. You have to, you can only become what you possibly could be if you only are willing to become what really initiates strong feeling. Not want, not need, but feel. What feels amazing? That idea comes in, well, I don't know, it feels amazing, but the minute you hear that word but come in, you train yourself. You have to train yourself to stop. You have to think like somebody said, fire! Like that. You know, if somebody says fire like that, you're going to stop. Well, but the language has to be like that. Language is, in Rudra Yoga, there's a saying that language is power and language creates meaning. And meaning creates life. How your life would be. Language is power. And it creates meaning. And it creates how your life would be. So, when I was talking to Shekinah about this, I said something I've said many times before, that in this world is like a round little ball, and there are like all these different people on it, and they're running around doing this, that, and the other, and they're here for, you know, a few decades, and then that personality, poof, that personality goes poof, and all of them do that. All of us, all of them, really, it's all of them, because it's not what we are. Mm-hmm. But it's how we're playing while we're here. So, if you think about in the more ethereal world, all these different people, like, think about why in the world do I know these three people here? Why do I know them? Why do I know you? I know you because
Joshua.
No, it's
well, it's actually because of Joshua, because Joshua invited Sabrina over here, and then Sabrina was like, "Do you want to come?" And then I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah, but for me, the way it happened was that Shandaya said, "Hey, should we go over there?" It's just how it happened. It's not important. That's not important. Like it happened all through Shandaya, but I'm just saying that's how it happened. It happens how it happens. But if you think about all this was one being in a more ethereal place, and people come into human bodies in different times and places, meaning it breaks into different parts, but it's like water or like snow or like, I don't know, you could probably think of a number of things that are still whole even though they have parts. Like water, you know, has drops or rivers or this, that, and other. But it's still all one water. It's exactly like that. So the pieces are always pieces of the larger being. It breaks into different parts and comes in different times and places, are always going to be magnetized to each other. And in ways that mostly would seem like random or magical or like, whatever. Why did that happen? Why did this happen? Why did that happen? And that's why everything happens. Everything only happens because of that. Because we come into these worlds, and as a we, I can say we like all of us people here, but I can say we like this one being. So we, because there's more than one of us in the ethereal world. So come here, and naturally they're going to be drawn together. So in some way, here, like in everyday life, seems random or magical or this, that, or the other. It's actually that part coming together. It can't do anything else. So the part you wanted me to send you was, in Rudra Yoga, we understand that we only come here. We come to a place when it is time for a leap in evolution. So we break into different parts. We forget what we once were. And we need to, all kinds of shit happens. And so we need to, we forgot what we once were. And then so we need to focus on two things to actually have a life. And that's healing ourselves and growing ourselves, evolving ourselves. But at some point, we understand that there isn't any me that's separate from whatever is in front of me. That it's just, there couldn't be anything else. I wake up in the morning and nothing different can happen than what happens, but I never know what's going to happen. Down to the littlest little thing, like you went on a journey in your new work you're doing, and then you came back, and I was in the bed because I'm not being able to do much these days, and you just started talking to me. You said something, I don't know what. What'd you say?
Oranges.
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 Oranges. Yeah, but you probably said hi or.
Is it hi, Issa?
Yeah, something like that. So that's what happened, and that led to this. Well, it could be anything. That's the point. So I said, we are here to heal ourselves and others and grow ourselves and others. And that's all we ever are doing here. And when we get our mind involved in thinking we're doing a lot of other stuff, it's just context. It's just a container to do our being work in. It's a container to do our being work. So there's never anything on our focus but healing ourselves and others and growing ourselves and others. And we're always remembering that in yoga, there is never either or, always both and. Now, that doesn't mean I couldn't say, well, I think I put my keys either here or there. Not that like that, but you know what I'm talking about, where you're thinking about your ideal. You want to get something done. It's your ideal. And you could do it this way, or you could do it that way. But if you did both, it would help you fulfill both things that attract you to one or the other. That's simple. So, do I need to send it to you?
No, you said it.
So
You just sent it.
basically, I said I would send it to you, so that's how
Sent it.
I love Dharma Night. I like to do everything that comes up, I look for it as an opportunity. The Dharma Night. Dharma Night's, everything Mershida and I have built in the last few decades comes to its fruition in Dharma Night. Because that's when we get together and just be together. And I think I've said before that I spent quite a bit of time with Ram Dass in 1973 and 4. And we went to the opening, I went with him to the opening of Naropa. So Trungpa Rinpoche got in the mix too. So that was how that all, and that's how we started all this in Boulder and all of that. And I've said before that of all the things that I listened to Ram Dass say, the one that really, the only one I ever remember, the only one that like went into me, like seared in my brain, is that idea. It was just here to heal and grow. So, the important thing is to keep your mind quiet, because the quieter you have your mind, the more pure thoughts come in that are the directions of what comes next in your journey to put together your soul mission here and be living it out as your ordinary life without thinking about it. It's just how you are, what you do every day, how you are every day. So, is that enough?
Yep.
So, does anybody have anything they want to bring up about any of that? Or anything else?
I just want to share the daily word.
Yeah, what's that?
I'll read it. It's Mershida's request. The daily word today is grace.
G-R-A-C.
Grace. I receive grace gratefully, and I share it generously. In a moment of frustration or irritation, at a time of hesitation and uncertainty, during a period of chaos and confusion, I may pray for help, a way forward, or even a feeling of comfort and solace. More often than not, what I may consider answered prayer is actually divine grace in expression. It is the gentle guidance that steers me through difficult dealings, the flash of insight that gives me a much-needed answer, and the peace that surpasses my human understanding. Living in gratitude for the grace of God in my life inspires me to share it with others. I extend grace when I listen instead of speak, forgive instead of condemn, and give instead of take. Grace is the gift I give again and again. And this is from the Bible, Peter 4:10.
Say that again.
This is from the Bible. I'm going to read a Bible phrase, quote, from Peter 4:10. Like good stewards of the manifold grace of God, Serve one another with whatever gift each of you has received.
Will you put that in the heart drops? Thank you.
Woo!
I'm gonna do the transmission of, what do we call it?
Kundalini cocktail.
Yeah, I'm gonna do
Kundalini
Kundalini
cocktail?
cocktail.
Okay. Wow.
Here goes. Okay, that was a good one. They're all good. But I always feel like that was a good one.
That was a great one.
I want to just say one more thing. I wasn't, the one, I forget who it was. I think it was Pablo Sababa or somebody. The story is they were born in a lotus in a high mountain lake and fully formed and fully awake. And I wasn't there, so I don't know. But I don't know anything about that story. I never think of any of the beings that inspired us and taught us that way myself, so I just don't think about it. So I was just like everybody here. I was born in a, everybody thinks about the family and how wonderful it is, and it is wonderful in some ways. I mean, you think people do things for their family they wouldn't do for anybody else. But it's also like a place where people get poisoned, where the beings get poisoned and forget who they are. Because they come in completely open, like a little bitty thing. So they get absorbed whatever the big people are thinking. And that's to be able to become what they were is the healing. I mean, maybe bad stuff can happen, like sexual abuse is very commonly talked about, or it's just different stuff, or even a horrible accident, or your mom falling over dead in front of you, like, whatever it is, or your brother dying and you were so close, like anything, but even the little stuff that people feel they have to heal from. Everybody has their little list, And it's where you had identity. It's where you didn't know what you were, and you were identified with what you thought you were, and something disturbed what you thought you were, what you want to be, what you thought you were. And so then you're like wounded, and then you have to heal yourself. But that's not the healing. The healing is the healing of forgetting. The healing is remembering, because once the remembering happens, all that other stuff is gone. It doesn't need to be healed. I mean, because it was not real in the sense of what you are. It was just real in the sense of what you thought you'd be. So I'm just like everybody else. I was born in a situation like that. I could tell you 10 stories about the nightmare of how I grew up. And it wasn't a story like, I grew up on the streets and my mother pimped me out, like that. It was a good middle class nightmare. Sometimes those nightmares are even greater, the greatest nightmares, than the ones that are shocking and pretty obvious. And then I went through this process, and it was certain, I think I've told you before that it took me 11 years to wake up. And then I needed 2 more years to wake up in the deep sleep, from deep sleep to where you come back the way you went in. So anyway, that's how long it took me. It shouldn't take anybody else that long. I think I'm pretty slow. So I'm here earlier. I'm part of us. It's here earlier than this part of us. And so you've been drawn here for me to pass on what I've learned in healing myself and others and evolving myself and others. And the only reason that Murshida and I are doing this thing that we call, School of Consciousness is whoever it is that comes to us to get them to the point we are where we don't have to work on ourselves anymore. Because like you were going through something today, right? And then you worked it out and then you got right again. Well, you'll get to a point, there'll be a point where you won't work anything out because there's nothing to work out. It's not real anyway, because the identity is completely shifted out of what you think, a lot of times what you think you are, what your life's about, this, that, and other, to what you're just solid and what you are as your normal sense of self. It's a gradual process, but it happens. And when it does happen, there aren't any more problems to work out because they didn't exist in the real, they don't exist for a being. They only exist for a person who has preferences and aversions and issues. That pretty much sums up what I talked to both of y'all about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. So, you were really good at doing that. You weren't, usually you're more open, you weren't open at all. I was going to explain that to you then.
Mm-hmm.
But I could tell that I would have gotten bit. So I didn't bother, but you returned like in a few hours. So that's where you are. And you look how far you've moved in the last 11 years, last 7 years, last 3 years, last 2 weeks. And after a while, you just aren't, that part didn't happen anymore. Now I feel I completed that. So anybody want to talk about that or anything else?
That was wonderful, Lisa. Thank you.
You're welcome. You can thank these two nice people here. This one too. She likes me too.
Mhm.
You know, they give me an opportunity to share knowledge. And knowledge is the real wealth. There's no wealth that has any dimension where knowledge lives. Knowledge is the true wealth. And you grow in the knowledge of what you knew before you came here. Until you're still a regular person and you can think like a regular person and have an idea where you're going to go here today or that way, whatever. But it's not what is on your mind. It's not what's in your consciousness. Your consciousness is stable in this is me, just in the sense of like if you think about like 10 years ago, this is me. And that was just normal, right? It was just normal. And whatever that was it. Well, it gets to the point where this other, remembering what we are, and the being that doesn't die, but just leaves that, you could say, body or that experience or that work time with a container to do it in. Till that goes, you're just still the being. And once there's a certain point at which doing doesn't exist because there's no doing in being. Deciding doesn't exist, choosing exists. There's no deciding in being. All right, well, nobody else has anything to say.
It's great to see you get
So-
so much energy tonight.
Say it again?
It's great to see you get so much energy tonight.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Something good happened. I haven't even had energy to do anything. And then all of a sudden, you said I was on fire. You said I was on fire.
You are.
Yeah, something, I don't know, something good happened.
Yeah.
Wow, nice. Must be that diet.
Right.
Well.
Yeah, I just felt like I was about to fade out of this body.
Yeah, I
I felt
know.
really relaxed about it. I was thinking, something my grandmother told me, my mother's mother, we would visit her, me and my mom would visit her all the time over in her little apartment. And one time she said she loved to play bridge with her friends. And she had a whole group of friends, and they would do, I guess almost every day, they'd meet together and play bridge. And one time she just said, I noticed that she was just in her bed a lot and watching TV or just being there. And she said she doesn't go out anymore because she's the last one left of all her friends. They already left their bodies. And then she said to me, and she was like, okay, I'm done with this. I'm ready to go. But then she said to me one time, she said, they say you grow old and then you die. Well, what I'm experiencing is you grow old and then you don't die. She said it in the funniest way. Okay. I guess we'll go to Clint. Oh, take us away. Oh, take us away.
Hey,
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 hey.
hey. Computer,